नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम 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 नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Hare Krishna. Welcome you all to the Sunday morning Bhagavad Gita class. That is what was decided. We will do Bhagavad Gita discussions, and the challenge is to keep it short and sweet. One chapter a day, one Sunday, in one chapter. That's the challenge I have. Let me try if we can. So recite a verse, first verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 1, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Text 1, it's a famous verse. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavashaiva Kurvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavashaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. Together. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavashaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. Word to word meaning. Dhritarashtra uvacha. King Dhritarashtra said, Dharmakshetre, in the place of pilgrimage. Kurukshetre, in the place named Kurukshetra. Samavetaha, assembled. Yuyutsavaha, desiring to fight. Mamakaha, my party, sons. Pandavaha, the sons of Pandu. Cha, and Eva, certainly. Kim, what? Akurvata, did they do? Sanjaya, O Sanjaya. Translation purport, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after many sons, after my sons and sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? So this is a purport. We read one paragraph. Bhagavad Gita is a widely read theistic science summarized in Gita Mahatmya. There it is said that one should read Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretations. The example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession, without motivated interpretation, then he surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. One will find the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, all that is contained in other scriptures. But the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. That is the special standard of the Gita. It is the perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Svapadanyam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudhata Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे तम करोति वाचालं Hare Krishna. So welcome to all Sunday Bhagavad Gita class. It was on popular demand. We are starting Bhagavad Gita study. It is suggested that we do a crisp study of Gita. Just go through one chapter a day, kind of. We'll try, as I said. There's a lot to discuss, obviously. So I seek all of your blessings. Beginning with this wonderful diving into the ocean of Srimad Bhagavad Gita's nectar. So, as Srila Prabhupada is saying, one has to learn Bhagavad Gita following in the footsteps of Arjuna, right? In that mood. So, these are PPTs of by Radhesham Prabhu only. This is Radhesham Prabhu. And he titled this as Gita Rahasya. So what is a Rahasya in Gita? It is all open, it's an open thing, right? We have book, it's online available, so many things. Why is Gita? So Lord Krishna himself explains in Bhagavad Gita. He says there is a qualification required to understand Bhagavad Gita. The way he has spoken. One can misinterpret and understand whatever he wants. That's not understanding Gita. Understanding what Krishna wants us to understand, that needs qualification. That needs a password. And that password is what Krishna has revealed. Lord Krishna has revealed. Bhakto si me sakha cheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. But Krishna also says this is rahasya. And speaking this, and people will publish, we have lakhs and millions of copies distributed, still it remains rahasya. Then what is the password? What is the key to open that rahasya? Is the attitude. What is your consciousness when we study Bhagavad Gita? Now we just read, Srila Prabhupada said, in the footsteps of Arjuna. Now what was Arjuna? So I am just taking one story from Arjuna's pastimes, right? So when we know this, right, when Pandavas and Kauravas, just before the battle of Kurukshetra, when Pandavas went to seek help, Arjuna went to seek help of Krishna before the battlefield, and also same time Duryodhana also came. You know that story. And both of them happened to come at the same time. Here we see. And Duryodhana went and sat near the head of Lord Krishna. And Krishna was taking rest that time. He was sleeping, yoga nidra. Not day rest. Yoga nidra. He's meditating on something. Some welfare of his devotees. We take day rest. That's not what Krishna does. And Arjuna came, and as servant of Krishna, he sat near the lotus feet of Krishna. The Lord got up. Who did he see first? I said, "Oh Arjun, you have come. What brings you here?" Duryodhana interrupted, saying, "Wait, I am also here. You didn't see me? I am also here. Rather, I came little early. I sat here only next to you." "Oh Duryodhana, you are also here. What? Both of you came together? What brings you here?" "Krishna, we need your help. You know the battle is happening. It's going to happen, and we need your help." And Krishna said, "Okay, because I saw Arjun first, and he is also younger. Let him speak his desire. I have two choices." Krishna gave. Either me and my Narayani Sena. The only condition is I will not fight. I won't lift a weapon. And Narayani Sena is a huge Sena. Every soldier in that Sena was equal to Krishna in strength. They were very powerful soldiers, 10,000 of them. Krishna said, "You choose." So Duryodhana was actually praying. He's praying to Krishna. He's praying that let Arjun not choose the Narayani Sena. He's very calculated. He says, "What I do with this Krishna? That too is not going to lift weapon also. Useless, practically." This is what is going on in his heart. And Arjun was very clear. Arjun said, "What will I do with anything else apart from you?" This is not even a question to ask. He chose Krishna. He said, "I just want you. Arjun, please think. I am not even going to lift a weapon." He says, "No second thoughts. I have decided. We just need you." Bhakto sime sakha chai. Because Arjuna knew very well Krishna is the cause of all causes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Wherever Krishna is, all fortune has to come on that side. He is the master of all fortune, all auspiciousness, all wealth, all prosperity, everything. He had no doubt about it. Whichever side Krishna is, obviously he was not calculating this way. He had loving relation with Krishna. I am not saying okay, but he had full faith, full confidence in Krishna's supremacy. That is how we need to understand. When we read these verses of Bhagavad Gita, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, we should understand who is this Shri Bhagavan. He's not just another ordinary philosopher of this world giving his opinion about things. He's not even a scientist trying to figure out something of this universe with his, few grams of brain matter. He's not just a politician or a social worker trying to do something good for people in general, and that's why he's speaking it. No, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan himself, speaking the absolute truth. When you have that faith, that is the prerequisite to understand Bhagavad Gita. Only bhaktas who have that faith, who have that confidence in Krishna, bhaktos ime sakha, and also have loving relation with Krishna. One is to know Krishna's opulence, greatness of Krishna. Another is also to have the loving desire to serve, the loving relationship, the propensity to serve Krishna. So this is the qualification which Arjuna had, and if we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna, then we can understand. And Srila Prabhupada says we should actually learn Bhagavad Gita along with devotees who have this kind of faith and love for Krishna. And we are fortunate, we are learning it from Srila Prabhupada, who is a devotee like this. Wonderful Krishna Kripa Murti. So when we read Srila Prabhupada's purport, they will help us reveal the secrets of what Krishna wants to actually give. That is the message of Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Krishna offered himself without weapons and Narayani Sena to both Arjuna and Duryodhana. You know the story, I am not already elaborated. And Arjuna chose Krishna. So if we are going to choose Krishna in our life, then we can understand Bhagavad Gita. See, Bhagavad Gita is the first section today, the beginning. So I'll just introduce just a little bit to be aware. So the first 6 chapters is like considered to be lower covering of a box, a diamond box, a jewelry box, in which the jewel is kept in between. So there is a lower edge, lower covering, there is a upper covering, and in between is there is a jewel, a diamond. Similarly for Gita, there are first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters. They are like the covering, and the jewel of bhakti the real message of Gita is kept in between. Just like a jewel is kept hidden. Similarly, the first 6 chapters talk about more about karma, yoga. And the last 6 chapters talk about dhyana yoga in prominence, although there is a lot of bhakti discussion also. And the middle 6 chapters talk much more about bhakti, much more emphasis about bhakti. So that's how Acharya say that the jewel is studded in the lead box where there are 2 leads covering. So Srila Prabhupada has quoted Gita Mahatmya. We will also see few verses from Gita Mahatmya of Shankaracharya. We will recite these verses revealing the greatness of Bhagavad Gita. So here is the first verse. Gita Shastram idam punyam ya pathet prayata puman Vishnu padam avapnoti Bhaya shokadi varjitaha. Meaning someone? Do you have another one?
Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. If one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all miseries and anxieties in this life. On his next life, in his spiritual.
One should read very carefully, follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita very properly, then there is all auspiciousness in this world and the next life also. This is what Shankaracharya is. Okay. We will skip something. Yeah. This one. Mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitamrita snanam samsara malanashanam.
One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water, but if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished.
So every day one takes bath, mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnana. We take jalasnan every day to cleanse the body. Similarly, we should take every day snana of Bhagavad Gita to actually cleanse ourselves of material dust, dirt of material life. So that is the potency of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, read translation. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Then he says, okay, go ahead. This is a famous verse in this side. Sarvopanishado gavo Dogha Gopala Nandanaha Partho Vatso Sudhir Bhokta Buddham Gitamritam Mahat.
This Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the Upanishad, is just like a cow and Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd god, is milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf, and learned scholars and pure devotee are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita.
That's beautiful analogy, Shankaracharya. Sarva Upanishado Gavo. Gavo means cow. All the Upanishads and Vedas and Puran, they are like cows. There is a cow. Now the essence of cow is milk. Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha. There is a milkman who is milking that cow. That is Gopala Nandana. That is Krishna. Krishna is milking the cow of all the Upanishads. And what is coming out? The milk of Bhagavad Gita. Who is drinking the milk? Cow gives milk for? Calf. So who is calf? Arjuna. Partho Vatsa. Parth is Arjuna. He is Vatsa. And Sudhir Bhokta. But only calf doesn't drink milk. There are many others also who get milk. All of us also get milk of cow. All the cow is giving it only for us. So the devotees and learned scholars, Sudhir, they also will drink this milk. Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat. One last Shankaracharya's एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम्
एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम्
एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव
एको देव देवकी पुत्र एव
एको मन्त्रास्तस्य नामानि यानि
एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि
कर्मापि एकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा
कर्मापि एकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा.
Is it visible?
In this present day, people are very much eager to have one scripture, one God, one religion, and one confession. Therefore, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gita. Let there be one scripture only, one common scripture for the whole world, Bhagavad Gita. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Let there be one God for the whole world, Sri Krishna. Eko Mantra Shuddhasya Namani, and one payment, one mantra, one prayer. The chanting of his name, Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva, and let there be one work only, the service of the supreme personality of God.
Unified faith. Science. Lot of talk about unified faith. We want some one. Everything should be one law which governs the whole, one person, right? So Shankaracharya has already unified everything. So only one book is required for entire humanity, that is Bhagavad Gita. All the libraries in the world, if they get burned, no loss. Only Gita should remain. There is nothing required. And there is only one supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. Only one thing to be done in this world. Nothing else has to be done. What is that karma? Tasya devasya seva. Only performing service, only do seva to Krishna. That's the only thing to be done in this world. And one thing is given. What is Eko Mantra? Eki Mantra. That is Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Right? Tasya Namani. Right? This is Shankaracharya. Look at Shankaracharya is from Maya. This very clearly he has written the whole program. Gita, holy name, service. This is the thing to be done. Shankaracharya said. Okay. So the first 6 chapters, see this, if you just read this one line, remember, we understand the high level Gita. As we say. Learn to work for Krishna while in this world. Learn to work is from chapter 1 to 6. For Krishna, that is Bhakti, from 7 to 12. And while living in this world of 3 modes, world of dualities, that is explained in chapter 13 to 18. So the goal of Gita, the entire Gita can be summarized in this one line. Learn to work for Krishna while living in this world. This is this one line summary of entire Bhagavad Gita. The first chapter, now there is this famous acronym made by devotees. Some devotees. All the chapters of Gita are summarized into one word. I mean, easy to remember. Right? There is acronym like this. So the first chapter has this doubt. We'll see what is it. There's an acronym. We can remember entire chapter. Those who studied Bhakti Shastra, they kind of remember it. They might have discussed. The first chapter also is Arjun Vishada Yoga. All the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita have their Sanskrit name, Yoga. Obviously, it is a conversation. Krishna didn't say chapter 1, chapter 2. They didn't discuss like this. Just a conversation. The Acharyas have made, depending upon they grouped some verses and these chapters were made. Vyasadeva was there, obviously. So the first one Vyasadeva calls is Arjun Vishada Yoga. Vishada means lamentation. So how can somebody's lamentation become yoga? Somebody is lamenting. Arjuna is just lamenting. Vishada means lamentation. What is yoga? Why is called as Arjun Vishada Yoga? Any thoughts? What is the meaning of yoga? Yes.
Vishad is going Arjuna to the yoga session.
Going to
Yoga.
Going to yoga. Yoga means what?
Yoga means
Connecting with Krishna. Connecting with Lord is yoga. Yuja. It comes from yuja. Right? So whatever connects you with Krishna, that is yoga. Because Arjuna's lamentation will lead him to connect with Krishna. That is why his lamentation also is yoga. That's why the first chapter is called as Arjun Vishad Yoga. Okay, this is the first chapter. Now, what is this doubt? This will help us remember the entire chapter easily. D for Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, first 12 verses are spoken mainly by Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan. That's why first 12 verses is Dhritarashtra Duryodhan. And O is for ominous result, 13 to 20. U for uncertainty, 21st to 27. And then B for bewilderment, 28 to 30. And T for turning point, 31 to 40. This is how this 42 verses of the first chapter. Doubt. You remember this doubt? It's easy to remember also because spiritual life actually begins with doubt. Should ideally begin with doubt, not with faith. Remember this? For the preachers, this is very important to know. So, mother, relatives, like to welcome them. उनका स्वागत करेंगे. Seek blessings. It is welcome them. Very good. Haribol. So, yeah, I was saying that spiritual life actually begins with doubt. You know, secret of preaching, sharing Krishna consciousness. We want to make someone go. First, create doubt in his mind. Doubt about doubt about whatever the person till now held valuable in his life. Someone comes to Krishna consciousness. You know, that is what Bhagavatam does. That is what all our acharyas do. There's no promise Maya gives in this world. Morning also we read this. What is that promise? What they're trying? Pura hai Vishwas. Will be very happy ever after. Will be very satisfied. His life will be very rosy. You know, just little bit problem now. Very problem. Very, very take walk. I'm going to be here forever. Like they say in the movie, they live happily ever after. Okay, no, it happens. Right? So we will create doubt about it. Actually, it's not fair. So when a person actually starts feeling doubtful about promises of mind, then he becomes serious about the promises of meditation. Third kind of application. Mukta Bhoga Parityakta Yukta Dosha Nityasha Sat Ishwarasya Shvam Prate Swamini Satasya Cha. Say this, Mukta Bhoga Parityakta. Why do we want to give up the bhogas of this world? When he says Dushta Dosha Cha Nityasha, when one sees the fault in them, what is the fault of this material employment, material world? What is the verse in Bhagavad Gita? ये ही संपत्तिया भोगा दुःख हृदय एकते आदि अंत कांतेय अनंतेषु रमते. This is the fault of this material world. What everything is going on. Happiness is the goal of life, but that goal has a fault. To create that doubt. What is that fault? It is temporary. And it is also misery producing. Every happiness, material happiness will produce material misery. Without if and but. It is a law. It is for sure. Every material happiness will bring material misery. So when someone understands this, then we become serious about the spiritual message. So anyways, I'm just saying that doubt, because I have doubt of material life, then one takes spiritual life seriously. So that doubt is easy to remember. That is how Bhagavad Gita also starts. Doubt. So what is the first being? Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. So they Dhritarashtra speaking. This is the first verse. Really listen. Dharma kshetre, guru kshetre, samaveta, samava, Shaiva, Kiva, this is what we decided. The first verse of Gita, very famous. Dharma kshetre. So this verse is actually a little, it's a very foolish inquiry. Why? Why is it foolish inquiry? Yeah, it's a very obvious thing. Dhritarashtra is asking. So you know the setting of Bhagavad Gita. Sanjay is given the television by Vyasadeva. So they see him on the TV, television. They see what's happening on that relating to Dhritarashtra, including the details. And then Dhritarashtra asks this question. This is where and why Bhagavad Gita starts from this verse? It should start from where Krishna starts speaking. This is Bhagavad Gita. It's not Dhritarashtra Gita. Why is this verse as the first verse? So we will see about it. There's so much to discuss. This is the first verse because this chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the most important chapter. So when we discuss 18 chapters, we will describe every chapter is the most important chapter. Every chapter we discuss this. Why this chapter is the most important chapter? Now this first chapter is the most important chapter. Why? Because when you write, let's say you write a thesis, you give some presentation. The problem statement is the most important part. First, you have to define the problem. Right? Technical part. You first define the problem very nicely. Those who do PhD, they spend several months just defining the problem. Problem has to be very clearly, nicely defined. Right? Is that the most important part? Yes, where is our PhD candidates? Is it there? Yes, bro. Is it correct? So this chapter defines the problem statement, not about sanction. Here. So this chapter is problem statement. So it is most important. We understand what is the problem statement. Next chapter we will see why they are most important. This is most important for sure. Why Dhritarashtra is speaking? Because Dhritarashtra's attitude defines the problem statement and Dhritarashtra is sitting there. And it is not our problem statement. It is sitting here. It's definitely here. All of us. Not that way. In everyone's heart. Krishna is sitting and Dhritarashtra is also sitting. We'll see how. Why I am saying this. We have this. Right? That is why this is a problem statement for everyone. Okay. What is it saying? Now, why is this requiring the Dhritarashtra is a very obvious thing. Because they all gather on the battlefield. What they should do? Just telling them. This is asked. So this is a foolish inquiry because it is asking. It is something like asking. Everyone sat for prasadam with their plate. They sat in the room on the bed. सब बैठ गए. उसके बाद में उन्होंने क्या किया? आगे दूसरा क्वेश्चन क्या कि प्रसाद के लिए बैठे तो प्रसाद खाएं. जैसे कल आप हरिनाम के लिए गए तो अगर नो यू आपने डांस हरिनाम के लिए आप लोग गए थे सोसाइटी में उसके बाद में आपने इधर जाके क्या किया प्रसाद तो नहीं खाएंगे हरिनाम के लिए गए थे तो हरिनाम करेंगे. सिंपल. It's a foolish inquiry. Dhritarashtra is saying all of them gathered to fight. Then what did they do? So it's not apparently foolish, but it actually reveals the mentality of Dhritarashtra. Why is he asking this? Because here four things are said. He is desirous, he is doubtful, he is fearful, and he is hopeful. Actually, a speech of person, especially politicians, diplomatic people, their speech reveals if you are very good in analyzing. That's why all these news channels keep on analyzing. इसने ये बोला, फिर क्या बोला होगा, क्या चल रहा है अंदर. Because that's the diplomatic speech. Actually, this first 12 verses also talk about diplomacy. Dhritarashtra is also diplomatic, Duryodhana is also speaking very diplomatic. So they are speaking something, but the intention is there behind. Okay. So what is Dhritarashtra's intention here? Why is he saying this? Because he is desirous of something. What is it? He wants the kingdom. He wants Pandavas eliminated for good. He wants the war to happen. He was asking some boys some days back. They said maybe he's thinking that okay, let there'll be some truce between them. He was thinking like that. Let there be truce. No, he was thinking the opposite. Actually, if he wanted to do truce, it would have happened easily. He was king. Pandavas even sent Krishna as peace messenger asking only for 5 villages. So just give us something because we are Kshatriyas. You keep the kingdom. If Dhritarashtra wanted, he could have avoided war very easily. But he did not want it. He wanted the war. He didn't want to avoid war. Why? Because he wanted to eliminate Pandavas completely. And he was doubtful and fearful. What? Why is he asking? What if my sons make a truce there? They should not do it. He was fearful of that. So Duryodhana, sorry, Dhritarashtra was have that fear. What if they make a truce? They'll say, okay, anyways, you wanted only 5 villages, you have such a big kingdom. They were emperors of the entire world actually. Take it. So why is that fear there in Dhritarashtra's heart? Actually, he knows his children more than anybody. He knows how cunning they are. बाप से बेटा सवाई देखो, everyone will not, right? Why is he fearful? Any thoughts? Because, yes, धर्म क्षेत्र में, that's why it begins with धर्म क्षेत्र. धर्म क्षेत्र है, और धर्म क्षेत्र is actually धर्म क्षेत्र. It's a very pious place. So whether they get influenced by that place, this is what they would not get influenced. So we also understand that there is a law. Externals affect internals. Our externals affect internals, right? So here, you can think that it's fearful that let the external influence of the place should not influence my sons and they become, little, they get influenced and they make a agreement. Should not happen. So that's what Srila Prabhupada explains in the Padma. That's why he's asking this very obvious question. So it is also important, just thinking external influence, external influence, internals is also very important for us to think like the place here. It is said about place. You go to Kshetra. It can even change the heart of a very cunning person like Duryodhana. There is a possibility with the Rashtra. So place is something, an external factor which can influence. Any other external factors which can influence internals? Huh? I, yes. The people around you also affect. That's an external thing, but affect any other factor. External but can influence internal positions. Okay. But anything external can affect conscious. Okay. That's what it is. situations. Simple as simple as clothes. Why, if Srila Prabhupada has given us a program, some kind of here, a place to gather together, a time where Prabhupada expresses we should chant and come together. The Sangha, yesterday was ISKCON's birthday, to celebrate ISKCON's birthday. Why Prabhupada had this? Prabhupada says in the LOI that we are making this society and we are making this centers so that devotees can come together, so that they can chant the holy names, they can glorify Krishna, they can take prasad together. It's the purpose of Prabhupada started temples, centers. Because Prabhupada knew that the place, the time, the Sangha has effect. Nowadays, people think that, I mean, people have no need is everything is there online. What is the need to go and sit and hear? Gita, but so many devotees have focused many lectures online. It's good, but it has no comparison with coming together with devotees and learning. Anyways, chanting, not to get someone कर लेता है. What is the there is a difference doing it in hostel, in place, or coming to the temple hall, sitting with devotees. There is a difference. Just like Dhritarashtra is thinking, the place will affect my sons. Actually, place affects. When we come together, it has an effect. We sit with devotees, it has an effect. When we are in Vaishnava attire, it has an effect. When we put tilak, it has an effect. When we are sitting in front of Lord, in front of Tulsi, it has an effect. These will be all external factors. Always say, "अरे, भक्ति तो क्या अंदर की बात है." ये सब अंदर की बात है यार, किधर भी करो. Ultimately, it's about what is inside, but your inside gets affected by what is outside. Again, that's why the whole system is there. Right? So we should take this is something to meditate. That what Dhritarashtra is also fearful. We should also be fearful. We come together like we are coming together on Sunday morning. Let's come together to chant. Let's come together for together for action like that. So here is the first verse. So Srila Prabhupada explains. Lesson from the next verses is being on God's side is million times superior to one's own political diplomacy and material experience. So now, Duryodhana will start speaking. He speaks very expertly. We will go into the details of that little bit, but it's very dramatic speech. But the lesson we will learn at the end of it is, you know, all that diplomacy will not help. Ultimately, you know, uh, being on God's side is superior, right? When Pandavas were on the side of Krishna on the other side. That is more. So the second verse, now we'll go to the second verse. So here in the first verse, we'll just read a comment of Srila Prabhupada. Last paragraph. Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family. But Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as gurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from his family heritage. Although he is supposed to be their guardian, he says Mamata Pandava share. He did not treat them equally, although he always claimed it that way. But this, he says Mamata, mere, bache, or Pandavas. That was he always has this distinction. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the sons of Pandu. As the paddy field is Krishna was actually why Krishna was orchestrating this entire war to eliminate one wholesale elimination. That was Krishna's plan. This is the significance of the word Kshetra, Kurukshetra. Okay, the next verse. Sanjay said, O king, after looking over army arranged military formation by sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to the teacher, his teacher, and spoke with us. So he went to whom? Who is the teacher? Dronacharya. Now what he says, his speech is there from 4 to 11. We'll just read that. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciples, son of Drupada. Right? So Drupada was guided by Dronacharya, and that was 30. That was, I mean, Duryodhana was not very happy about it. So this is your expert, intelligent, disciple has only made the, he's only the commander in chief, the other state. He's trying to instigate Dronacharya. Very measured speech. Every word, why he speaks has a reason behind it. Then he says, here in this army are many heroic women equal to fighting in fighting Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yudhishthira, Virat, and it's talking about the strength of the other army, Pandavas. There are many great fighters. Why is he speaking this? To instigate the fighters. Yeah, hey, challenge is very big. So he is kind of motivating them. And ego only created this trouble. Because you thought, right, will not go to the details. But and then he lists down all the heroic, what all the heroes on the other side. There are great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Cheki, Chek, Chekitan, Kashiraj, Uruje, Kuntibo, and Shaibya. There are also mighty Yudhavani and very powerful Uttamauja, and the son of Subhadra and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. And then after listing, see here all the details are given. All of them. See the reasons for Duryodhana's action. Duryodhana feared internally seeing the Pandavas' army. Duryodhana points out Dronacharya. Duryodhana wanted to anger Drona. Your disciple is only standing. So he wanted to incite that anger in Dronacharya. That's why he's speaking. And he's internally very fearful. That's why he's actually counting the strength of Pandava army. But then he saw all the different, it's about the different names of like, personalities spoken. This you can read it later, all the introduction. And then he says, but for your information, O best of Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. Now he thinks, oh, I only glorified the other side too much. Let them not get into inferiority complex. Let me motivate them also. Let me motivate our side also. Then he says, no, but our army is also no less. And then he lists. There are personalities like you, Ramesh, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwatthama, Vikarna, son of Somadatta, who are always victorious in life. So now he starts listing generals on this side to encourage them. So who is the commander in chief? Bhishma. And why is he, whose name is he taking first? Why? Diplomacy. It's very diplomatic in speech because he's talking to Dronacharya. He says Bhishma first. Ideally should be like this. Like if you're taking names of ministers of government, first name should be prime minister. If you take finance minister name first and prime minister later, it's an offense to him. It's a breach of etiquette. He is doing it here. Why? Because he thinks, oh, they have rivalry. Dronacharya ka naam, I'm talking to Dronacharya. If I take Bhishma first, Dronacharya will say, okay, then I'm not fighting. I'm not going to put my best. Actually, they were not there like Pandavas invited to please Duryodhana. Nobody was there for Duryodhana. Everyone was there for their own selfish interest. That was the team of purpose. And when you have such a team, the leader has to be so diplomatic to handle everyone. Right? Everyone's ego has to be handled. Karna didn't fight, he didn't come. Because he has ego clash with Bhishma. Such a big friend, good friend, doesn't want to come. So this ego, but there is a family. There is loving relation. Like Pandavas, that's how democratic community should be. Ideally, we should. no ego clash. Here is Krishna. You know, are we glorified and are we appreciated? Are we given a certain post or position? Is his name first or my name first? Whether my name came in the announcement or not doesn't matter. I did my job to serve Krishna. So sometimes in devotee circle also this comes up and then you have to really think, "Oh, there is so much here, like then we should think only like Kaurav party. Then Everyone has to do all that calculation. So he is first taking the name of Drona, you, then Vishwa, and then he calculates. Acharya says he also thinks a lot of calculation behind. He says it's okay, I can handle it. Whether Vishwa will not become upset. If I take Drona's name first, he is commander. But Kshatriya, Dronacharya is Brahman. So, anyways, I can handle it. You understand? Because that position why Drona is higher, Kshatriya is lesser. So, like that, he's doing too many calculations while speaking. That is what Acharya says. He's good with the I mean, great in speech. And then he says, Shura, mother, Ter, Kyakta, Jivitaha. That's the next verse. Nana, Sarve, Yuddha, Visharadaha. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. And Lord Krishna says, the hospital. They will all die. That's what he's saying. There are many, actually, he wants to say there are many who are so dedicated to me that they are ready to die. And Krishna standing on the other side said, Tadastu, let them all die. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons and all experienced in military science. And then the next verse also, 10th verse, is very much analyzed. Aparyatam tasmatam balam grishmaभिरक्षितं पर्याप्तं tad idam etesham balam bhimaभिरक्षितं. So this is Sanskrit here. Aparyatam tadasmatam nilam balam bhimaभिरक्षितं. Our strength is immeasurable and perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma. Now, because he first took name of Dronacharya, he thinks, oh, but what if Bhishma becomes upset? Now then he's speaking this verse to pacify Bhishma. Now he says, protected by Bhishma, we have immeasurable strength because Bhishma is on the other side. Whereas Bhima Virakshitam, Paryaptam, for them, for the Pandavas, they are protected by Bhima. That is not, that is limited. Their strength is limited. So Acharya said, Paryapta word has two meanings. Paryapta also means sufficient. Paryapta hai, so aparyaptam is aparyaptam balam, asmadam balam. So he's saying our strength is insufficient. One way of understanding, and actually that's the meaning, correct? Saraswati too. And paryaptam, their strength is paryaptam. Aparyapta unka paryaptam. There's two meanings. So it is analyzing this way. Actually, he spoke the truth. Saraswati spoke truth to him. Okay. So this is about the first few verses of diplomatic verse speaking of Rashtra. Then the next few verses, there, when there is Krishna, there is always victory. That is the next section. So when this discussion was happening, then Krishna started blowing his conch shell, very loudly, resounding, and that shattered the hearts of Duryodhana and Bharti. So these are the signs of victory of Pandavas, he said. So they also blew conch shell. Nothing happened on Pandavas' side. When Pandavas started blowing conch shell, all the Kaurava armies started getting shattered. So here, in the next few verses, 15 to 18, different names of different conchals of warriors is given. Krishna's Panchajanya, Arjuna's Devadatta, Yudhishthir, Ananta Vijay, Bhima's Paundras, Gopesh, and Sahadeva's Manipushpa. All of them, these names are given. They all started together, you know, uh, exhorting their conscience. Now, who is the commander in chief on the Pandava side?
Him.
Just now we read Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna's name is not there. What is that? Who gave the conscience? First one?
Rishikesh.
Huh? Panchajanya, Rishikesho, Devadatta, Jaya. Who is Panchajanya? Rishikesha, Krishna. This is 15th verse. So why is Krishna? Because just whichever side, the main personality on the other side is Krishna. Because he's on that side, victory is assured. It's not about the arrangement done by the strength of Arjuna. Krishna is there, he is blowing the concert, he is declaring the victory on this side is assured. 19th verses, their heart were shattered. The blowing of these different conchs became uproarious, vibrating both in sky and on earth, shattered the hearts of sons of Gopesh. 20th verse, it is said, at that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot, winning flag mark with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the scene of the Arjuna, drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna the following words. So they are now blowing the conch shell, and on the flag of Arjuna, Hanumanji is sitting. All this is there, and all the military arrangements are done. At that time, Arjuna spoke this to Krishna, which is going to come ahead. So here we see Hanumanji is also declaring another sign of victory of Pandavas. Hanumanji is there on the flag. He is, and we are only one seva. Is that? You shout. You just Krishna gave him one shout. You just shout loudly. Don't do anything. Don't fight because Hanumanji could have killed you, right? Just shout and create terror in the heart of fools. So that also teaches a very interesting lesson actually. In different situations in life, different part of life, you know, different people will be heroes. They cannot be hero forever. Only one personality can be hero forever. That is Krishna. No one else can be claimed to be hero. No. There was Vibhishan, no sorry, Jambavan. Jambavan has so much and so much strength. You know, he what is that? When Bhagavad stole, I think there was a story. Right? So Jambavan actually circumambulated Earth in one go 20 times. 21 times. He recollects that later. This is when I was young, when Hanuman had to jump to Lanka. They are thinking, who will be able to jump? Jambavan is also there. Jambavan says, when I was young, I had so much strength, I could go around the entire planet. One jump, I can go around the entire planet so many times. But now I have become weak. Now I cannot do it. Now Hanuman, you can do it. But Ram wants you to be here. So Hanumanji went. So who was the hero before? Jambavan. Then Hanuman became hero. And now in this battlefield, Hanumanji is told just go on the flag. Who was the hero? Arjuna. And later, when Krishna goes back, Arjuna is defeated by the infidel 1,000 boys. So Arjuna is not a hero. So we learn from here that Krishna may empower different people at different part of time with a different capacity. No one can claim to be hero forever. Only Krishna can be like that. But if you fight against that passage of time, that working of time, then actually that is what the demoniac mentality is. Demons want to remain relevant forever. That is the disease of all the demons. Kamsa doesn't want to die. Because when he dies, he becomes irrelevant. You know, the Hiranyakashipu doesn't want to die. Why? They fear the passage of time, which makes them irrelevant. That is how the time works. Everyone has their own time, and with the passage of time, we have to just accept. That is what this devotees teach. Hanuman is not fighting with Krishna. What are you saying? Just go on flag? You know, we are told, Prabhu, ये फेस्टिवल में आप से रथ पे बैठ जाओ और मिट्टी बजाओ बस वो हाथ करे वो मेरे को अगर तो Krishna's will. Krishna, they want you to lie down and just accept. Either Hanuman ठीक है, this is the seva, I'll accept it. Whether it's just a seva on going on flag and shouting, or being in the front, making a bridge to Lanka, going and shattering, burning Lanka, वो भी किया है. But whatever is Krishna Ichha. Krishna wants me to serve in this way, I serve. I don't want to be here. Let Krishna be here. That is the consciousness of it. Cannot be seen. Okay. Now next two verses. We will end sometime. Then we learn the next four, lesson 4 from next few verses. Why did Lord Krishna's devotee Arjuna always go down if he was fight? See that. So next few verses, we see Krishna very expertly takes the chariot of Arjuna. Arjuna says, Krishna, please take my chariot. I want to see who are assembled to fight. Arjuna go and prepare to shoot arrows. Arjuna said, oh, Arjuna, please draw my chariot between two armies. God into the chariot between two armies at the request of Arjuna. Arjuna sees all kinds of villages. There are lakhs and lakhs of soldiers. 11 extraordinaries. So must have occupied 2 kilometers of area. Krishna could have taken Arjuna's chariot to any place. But you see how Krishna is so amazing. He took Arjuna's chariot. Arjuna says, okay, take my chariot. He took it right in front of Duryodhana, right in front of Dronacharya and Krishna. When Arjuna is seen in front, it's only a small part of Arjuna. God, that's what he meant. Why did Krishna do it? Because he wants to speak with him. Ultimately, he has to make the whole drama so that Arjuna is able to. There is a lesson also. It's very beautiful sharing how by driving the chariot of God, we also have a background, we are also driving. Krishna will definitely put us in front of other greatest attachments, face to face. So Arjuna was not a test to fight that war. He's not fearful. He's already defeated all of them. All there is no hankering for Arjuna. He's so qualified. There's nothing. There's no attachment. No maintain attachment. Only one weakness is there. Only one attachment. He is very weak for his superiors, like Krishna. He has that emotional connection. Now Krishna knew this. Krishna put him face to face, not with Krishna, not with him. He faced face to face with his own attachments. And now Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, choose me or team. Choose who you want. So Krishna will do that with everyone. It is not an option. All of us will fix. All of us is our own attachments. And Krishna so nicely does it. He put us in that situation. Somebody has wealth problems, somebody has position problem, ego problem. Some of us have all the problems. Just believe that Krishna will put us in that situation to test. Do we what to do or do we choose something else? This is what Krishna has done with Arjuna. So now, putting that situation, Arjuna gets bewildered. Know that. So here we said the relationship, Srila Prabhupada said, the relationship between Lord and his servitor is so sweet and consistent. The servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the people. So this is Krishna's Bhakta Vatsal, that he is ready to become a charioteer, and he is just taking instruction from him. Take my chariot here, take my chariot. Now at least he spoke during the war. He said so much of noise, so much of chaos is there. But the charioteer cannot be, the warrior cannot tell the chariot. He has to just kick the charioteer by his leg. Kick on the left side, that will go to left. Kick on the right side, means go to right. I just think this is how Arjuna had to convey to Krishna. He has to kick. And this is the meditation Krishna said. So Krishna just want to show how much he loves and devotees. He's ready to just become a child. So anyway, now going ahead, Krishna has put Arjuna under. Arjuna becomes overwhelmed. So bewilderment. So we'll read this in verses. Starting 13 to 28 verse. So now Arjuna is speaking. My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me, such a fighting spirit, I feel limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow body is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning. I am unable to stand here any longer and forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune of Krishna, killer of Krishna. Because I am completely bewildered. This is the next B section, bewilderment. So Arjuna is completely bewildered seeing his relatives. He doesn't want to fight. And then the next section comes the turning point, the last part of this section, where Arjuna is giving reasons why he does not want to fight. So here he said, what are the main reasons? Arjuna says it would be cruel and heartless to prematurely terminate the lives of so many soldiers. The first one is compassion. He thinks compassionate, especially my own relatives. And the second one, even as unable kingdom would bring no happiness since it would be driven from company of near relatives. Third one would surely accrue bad karma. And the fourth one, he says, wholesale killing will involve destroying the family tradition. So here is a table you can see. The first reason he gives is compassion. This is in 28 to 30 verse, it is explained. The second reason for not fighting is no enjoyment even if we are victorious. At the cost of killing Bhishma, Drona and our my brothers, even if we are victorious, will we be able to enjoy? The third one he says is fear of sinful reaction. There will be a lot of sinful reactions if I kill my own relatives. So much sin. And destruction of family tradition because so many men will be killed. Like he says there will be so much of prostitution, so many women will be unprotected. So there will be loss of family tradition. And finally, he says the final reason is indecision, which is mentioned in the next chapter. Also, you see here the solution to that. Krishna refutes all of them in the second chapter. The verses are also given. Four reasons given by Arjuna why he cannot fight. And finally, and Krishna's solution to that. This is the next part of discussion. So here Arjuna says no desire for kingdom. Right? No pleasure without relatives. And if we fight and win, there will be no pleasure. If we slay such aggressive, sin will overcome us. Third thing says we get a lot of sin. These greedy men see no fault, but we can see. They may be at fault, but we can see the fault. So we should not do. And then the last one he says is destroying the family tradition. Kulakshaya. So when the dynasties are destroyed, then he says family traditions are stopped, irreligion increases, women become polluted, and unwanted progeny will happen, and so much of chaos in the society. This is the so going a little faster because I everyone is aware of this. These are the reasons given by Arjuna not to fight. Right? The last verses. Sanjay Uvacha. Because only a kind and soft-hearted and non-violent person like Arjuna is fit to exceed. So this is soft-hearted Arjuna spoke the last verse. What he said. Sanjay spoke. Arjuna, having thus spoken of the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrow and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Like this, indecisive, bewildered by the situation, Arjun became completely overwhelmed with the situation. He cast aside his bow. He's very sensitive in heart. Srila Prabhupada makes a comment. That is also his qualification to receive the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So, what are the five reasons for Arjuna is not fighting? Please raise hand. What is the first one? Compassion. Compassion for the relatives. How can we? Second, what is the second? Mataji said. The second reason Arjuna gave for not fighting. Yes, yes. No enjoyment. Even if we get kingdom, even if we are winning, still that is fourth one. Third one, fear of sin. Will enter so much sin in our men, right? And fifth one, last, I'm not able to decide. Indecision. So we see that, you know, Arjuna knows very well that this is Krishna's. Well, this is 2 minutes and we'll stop. Arjuna knows Krishna's desire. Even here. Krishna has agreed for this one, right? But Arjuna is giving justification. Why he doesn't want to do Krishna's will. There are 5 reasons he gives. Similarly, we also give justification at times. Why we don't want to do Krishna's will. And more or less, justifications are similar to what Arjuna is giving. Right? So here you see this misplaced compassion at times. Right? Like the bodily, why that misplaced compassion is coming? Because of the bodily attachment. So many times people say, oh, we cannot become very serious in body because my wife is so serious about it. Because our children, they don't want to come and it's only about that's a misplaced compassion. We understand not this body spirit soul. Is the first thing. Take this Vajraman, right? Second, fear of no, that is third. There's no enjoyment. Sounds family, people feel very serious, devotee. There will be no enjoyment. That is also right. He's thinking of following Krishna's will by fighting, we are going to lose enjoyment. So now just take out the context, take the principle, right? Similarly, when Krishna also asks us to do something, to surrender. Surrender. That's the second. What is fear of sinful reaction? So what is how is that comes in as a block to sadhana, surrendering to Krishna's will? You think that there's so many degrees for people in this world, right? So many so-called degrees, because degrees are one religion. People feel and they incur simple reaction. Sometimes give up lower to accept Krishna. Okay. So then those who are attached to those lower dharmas, they will consider that as sinful reaction. Like, give up some demigod worship. reaction. So there is Kulakshay, indecision. Kulakshay is also explained at the same basically. Kulakshay, how is Kulakshay happens? Fear, fear to surrender to Krishna. That there are pious and impious qualities. The impious like mediating, or give up that. Kulakshay century से चला आया there are some pious things also. Like it was because fear surrender right. So it said that certain situations can become so intense, like Arjuna, that you not feel to surrender on that situation. Just like Arjuna is also going through an intense situation, and then he's indecisive. There's a lot of tug of war in his heart. Similarly, one may also go through that challenging situation where one side Krishna, one side attachments are pulling, and then you become indecisive and not want to surrender to Krishna. Like Karna was in that situation. Then he chose the wrong side. Arjuna chose the right side. So it's our choice. We all will also go through such tug of wars. When our attachments and Krishna on the other side. Whether we want to try Karna party or Arjuna party is our decision. This is what first chapter of the summary teaches. So we have got the builder. Problem statement is defined. So what was the problem statement? I didn't tell you that. So the problem statement is self-absorption. Self is the body. And there is too much absorption in the bodily conception of life. That is a problem statement. Dhritarashtra is fearful. Duryodhana is diplomatic and fearful. Even Arjuna, because of bodily consciousness, has become fearful. So the first chapter tells us that this bodily conception of life actually creates self-absorption, which is the enemy of the jiva. That is the problem statement. Now, how that self-absorption will be solved? That will be from the further chapters. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.